Hello, I'm Nick, and welcome to Dinner and a Review Show. So, before I talk about this movie, let's talk about Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson, from action hero in Mad Max and Lethal Weapon to acclaimed director of Braveheart, The Passion of the Christ, and Hacksaw Ridge, he's had a career packed with blockbuster hits, critical praise, and a few bumpy landings along the way. But now, with Flight Risk, Gibson's back at the helm. So is this movie ready for takeoff, or should it have stayed grounded? Let's find out. So, when I first saw the previews for this movie, and the posters for this movie, I had to check my calendar to make sure that I hadn't been transported to 1989 or 1995, because this movie felt like it was in a time capsule, and someone actually took it, brushed it off, and said, yeah, this'll do. I think this'll pass for 2025. And then I saw that it was directed by Mel Gibson, and I thought, okay, this'll probably be good. It could be a good time, whether it be something for the sake of nostalgia, or it could be something that I'm completely blown away from, and it went way harder than it actually intended. I just want to go off and say, I love action movies. I love suspense. I love thriller. I love to be on the edge of my seat. I love high-octane action. I love to be entertained and enthralled by the scenes that happen and go on along the movies like this. And so far, from when I saw the movie and how it started off, I mean, it had that dated touch. It had the cheesy dialogue. It had something that was qualified worthy of a 1990s movie or a 1980s movie. So far this is looking not too bad, and I was pretty entertained. And then by the time Mark Wahlberg popped into frame, I knew the vibe changed drastically, and not exactly for the better. So this movie is directed by Mel Gibson, written by Jared Rosenberg, and it stars Mark Wahlberg, Topher Grace, and Michelle Dockery. So as the movie was progressing, I noticed Topher Grace was just so obnoxious, and I couldn't tell where the script began and the ad-libbing started, or the ad-libbing ended, or the script started, and vice versa. And it just was like, could you just shut up for one moment? I'm trying to see where the story goes. And I couldn't help but think that his character really could have benefited from being just a silent character. You don't really know when the surprise is going to happen, where if he just had very little dialogue to work with, at least it would have kept the movie engaging enough, and he just would not shut up the entire time. And there had to be a moment, as the movie was going onward, that Mel Gibson was like, okay, just shut up, okay? Now we got to make it suspenseful. Michelle Dockery, she was actually giving it her all. She was there. I mean, there were moments where I felt like she was either there for the paycheck and there to put in her talent and all as the actress, performing the role that she was handed and given to for this movie. So I felt like she did a fine job, but there was moments where she was just like, this is the movie. This is what I have to work with. And she just went along with it. I couldn't tell if it was actually her, the actress, or her, the character that she was playing at times, but at least you fell more for her character. And then comes Mark Wahlberg. As good of an actor as he is, and at least he played something that I wasn't used to in this movie. I've never seen him play a bad guy, and I was like, okay, new and very out of nowhere from the movies I'm used to seeing him as, and out of character and stuff. I mean, at least he's a good actor, so he'll probably bring something to the table on this. Very something, but oh god. And then he starts flipping 180 in every single scene he's in. He goes from being this charming, charismatic guy to being almost creepy to definitely being not likable, or trying not to be likable. But I couldn't help but find the way that he presented himself as the bad guy was just nothing but adorable. And I was like, this guy is either directed to have multiple personalities, or just he's going off a whim doing his own thing, and Mel Gibson just didn't have the guts to tell him, okay, no. what we're gonna do, we need to change the vibe of this character, change the mystery of this character. But no, he only had like about, I want to say 20 days or something based on the interviews that I read. You can definitely tell the time constraint and like where like there was no room for breathing and no room for growth in this movie. The implausibility in this movie of like how like the plane like was almost about to get into a crash course, and by the time it hits like a peak of a mountain, I couldn't help but look at the audience member next to me being like, yeah, that plane would have been crashed by now. That plane would not have survived that. I mean, if not that, it would have been the propellers that would have stopped it. And then there were some stupid decisions that were made in this movie. When you have Mark Wahlberg's character easily caught at the beginning, if not far off from the beginning of the movie, he's already cuffed up and everything, and that's literally what he does throughout the rest of the movie. And there was easy ways that these characters, the two characters, played by Topher Grace and played by Michelle Dockery, where they were like, could we just, like, I don't know, kill him? I mean, at least Topher Grace was smart enough to call out and be like, why do we keep him alive? Just kill him. And they're like, no, I'm not like him at all. And I was just like, that's a stupid decision to make because the dude is trying to kill you. And he had three times in the movie where he was already trying to kill them, and that still wasn't enough to solidify the decisions. So, and then during the times where he was cuffed up on the plane, and then it was just nothing but exchanges of dialogue, and then you throw in this curveball of a twist in the movie where there's an informant or a mole in the agency over the phone, and then they try to figure all that out in this confined space that's the plane, and I'm just like, this just feels like dead air. I'm getting bored already, and it was really ridiculous, where I was just like, when is the action going to happen again? When's Mark Wahlberg going to set himself free again? At least I was sort of entertained by that. I mean, the people are stupid in this movie to actually like keep him cuffed up instead of dropping him out of a plane or killing him right there and then. It's ridiculous. And then there's a scene in this movie, there's a few times in this movie where Michelle Dockery's character, who's flying the plane, doesn't know how to fly the plane, and she tries to seek help over a satellite phone, which was smart of her, I would actually have to say, but not smart enough to kill off Mark Wahlberg's character. It's probably because of that paycheck that they already paid him already to keep him on. So they already paid him, they might not as well waste him. So then she's on the phone with the help, trying to help her fly the plane, and then it was right when the guy that was helping her being like, hey, what are you doing Saturday night? Or, hey, what are you doing as soon as you land the plane? You want to go out for dinner? You want to go out for a drink? I was just like, are you serious right now? They're fighting for their lives on this plane. What made you think it was smart enough to ask her on a date in this dire situation? And then the hilarious part is that she goes along with the dialogue with the guy that's helping him in the movie. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This would not happen. I just felt like this movie was completely wasted potential. The payoff for me was nothing short of cliche, short of Mark Wahlberg's hilarious death, which got me rolling on the floor laughing. It's almost as funny as when I recently watched Deadpool and Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds' head got blown off. God, talk about diehard laughter. So in the end, I would just say that the movie was short of plot. It needed more time. It needed to be cooked up a bit more. Mark Wahlberg deserved a better character treatment than what he got. Topher Grace was annoying. I loved him in that 70s show, though. And Michelle Dockery, I hope you get more work after this, but you were definitely one of the actresses that tried giving it her all in a simple premise movie like this. The rating I'm giving this movie is bland and forgettable. Yeah, seriously, it was right up to the point. I'm gonna go back to the dialogue where like she was getting help from the guy over the plane. I was just like, okay, was this movie directed by Mel Gibson or Mel Brooks? Because it's that jarring and ridiculous. In the end, thank you for watching, and please subscribe, and remember, I watch it so you can savor it, except for this movie.